A group of New South Wales and Victorian farmers is on their way to Canberra today to grill politicians in person about the Murray Darling Basin plan. The group wants the basin plan scrapped, arguing it's failing communities, irrigators and the environment. Marriott is a grain and lamb farmer from the New South Wales Riverina and she joins us now from Canberra. Carly, g'day. I think this is the first time we've done a Skype to someone sitting in a truck. Explain for us why you're sitting in a semi.
You're welcome, Joe. We have all come to Canberra. We've convoyed to Canberra to let the politicians know that the basin plan is failing, you're right, and it's failing on all social, economic and environmental bases. And they wouldn't listen to us in the country. So we had a rally in Albury and Susan Ley didn't listen. We had another successful rally in Tocumwal and Little Proud didn't listen. And so we thought we'd pack up, we'd get our trucks and our tractors and thousands of people from across the whole Murray Darling Basin. And we'd have just come to Canberra and we're going to deliver our message and we're not leaving until we get our water.
Okay, so are you part of a convoy sitting there now?
This is the organisers convoy. We had to come in a little bit earlier and get a few things set up because Canberra is a bit more difficult to organise an event in than Tocumwal.
And so how many people are you expecting there today? How many trucks? And are you going to do circle work around Parliament House?
We're not going to do circle work around Parliament House, but we are going to circle Federation Mall. We're expecting nearly 200 trucks coming up the Hume Highway as we speak. And all of the cars and the people are going to come through first. There's a lot of families. It's a very peaceful rally, but it's based out of frustration and anger in the politicians' lack of action and inability to listen to us. We're trying to grow food for Australians and we're not being listened to, and it's hurting people out in the country. And so the fact that we have to pack up and come into Canberra to get this message across, we're giving it our all. And so this is not a small event. This is big, and it's about our future. And so we're not going to take this lightly. We're going to deliver our message, and we've actually demanded a delegation go and meet with Little Proud and Ley. And this morning we can confirm that they did accept to meet with us and to discuss the solutions that we have to fix this basin plan that is fundamentally flawed.
Okay, Carly, so tell us exactly where your property is and what your experience has been with getting access to water out of the Murray-Darling.
Okay, so my family farm directly north of the Murray River, which is full, and the water is running past our southern boundary down to South Australia, where it's causing damage to the forest and is then wasting out to sea. And to the north of our farm is the Moala Canal, which is full of irrigation water that we can't touch. So we have had zero allocation, which means we have had no water to use to grow our crops and no water to grow our grass for our lambs for 2 years in a row. And potentially our third year, 2020, will be exactly the same if this plan isn't scrapped. So that's on par with having your hands tied behind your back. We have all the infrastructure, we have all the knowledge, we have the expertise, we have the resources, and the government has tied our hands behind our back by not giving us water. Now, our farming mates to the north, they have to wait for rain. So they're in a real drought. What we're in is a man-made drought. We can turn the tap on and we can grow grass, we can grow hay and grain, and we can help these guys feed their stock and survive the drought. So it is the government that is imposing this man-made drought onto the farmers in the Southern Basin. And that is why we have driven to Canberra, because of this insanity.
But is it the case that only minimum amounts, according to the rules, are making their way through to South Australia and the Coorong, and it's not as if they're being over-allocated in the south, to the south of you?
Well, it depends what you think about over-allocation, because we're on 0% and South Australia's on 100%. In my eyes, that's not exactly a water sharing plan. That's quite unfair. And all we're asking for is our fair share, because we actually grow food for humans and for animals, as opposed to needing water to fill up a recreational boating lake and rush it out to sea to keep the Murray mouth open. So you can see where there's a lot of tension and friction about the sharing of water. But when one group has 0 and another group has 100, and we're all chipping into the same source, that's why it's just so mind-boggling that politicians aren't listening to this.
And what's been the effect on your particular property in terms of the amount of produce you generate each year?
Well, Joe, it's the 2nd of December. We should be driving headers, which harvest grain, We should be running truckloads of grain into grain sheds. We should be baling straw, and we should be working round the clock for the next month. But we're not, because the crops have failed, or that they've been so small that we've finished. So we're hung out to dry. We should be farming. We shouldn't be protesting. But the lack of water, when you're an irrigation farmer, it's like taking away your shop front if you're selling wares off the street. You need water to grow your produce, and especially in a dry year, which we know we're all experiencing. This is the time when irrigation farmers come into their own, because we have water to grow produce, and the government has taken that ability away from us.
But is it the case that everyone is struggling because of drought?
Yes. So drought is an underlying issue, but this particular element, this Southern Basin drought, it is water policy that has taken our water from us. Because as I pointed out, the Murray River is full. The storages are, nearly half full up in the Dartmouth and where they catch and store the water. So it's there. The government owns most of it, and they're just not giving it to the farmers to use to alleviate the stress and the angst and the despair that's created by the natural drought.
Yeah. And so what time have you been able to secure this meeting with David Littleproud and Susan Lee, the federal ministers?
So that's going to be happening this afternoon. It was very interesting. You have to actually put physical pressure on them to get a crowd into Canberra to make them sit down and listen. And I think in a democratic country like Australia, that's embarrassing, the lengths we have to go to for our elected members to listen to us.
Okay, Carly Marriott, thanks for talking to us from inside a truck in Canberra, and we'll be across developments there at Parliament House this afternoon.
You're welcome. Thank you.